I just got back from my first ever trip to Japan, which was super fun. I really enjoyed it there. And one of the weird things or kind of quirky things about Japan is that most of the restaurants have fake food samples. So they have, 3D wax or plastic versions of the dishes that they serve inside. So you can look at what you're going to eat in 3D before you go in. And this was pretty much everywhere and for all types of food. And all of these restaurants, they have to buy this fake food from somewhere. There's an area in Tokyo called Kappabashi. It's an area where people go to buy everything that they need for their restaurants so that they can buy all the pots and pans and dishes, and they can also buy their food samples there. So there are a bunch of food sample stores down this Kappabashi street. And I take it that this fake food has become kind of touristy because there's now a fake food sample shop where you can take classes or workshops making your own fake food. But I didn't know about that before I went, so we hadn't signed up. But this sample shop called Ganso Shokuhin Sample-ya Kappabashi Showroom, obviously not pronounced exactly that way. They sold these kits you could take home and make your own fake food at home. So I bought this one. It is a ramen kit. This was 2,667 yen, so I don't know, roughly $26 US. There were easy, middle, and difficult levels. I got a middle level, and I will show you now what's inside. Some of the wax items, these are just flat, I don't know, they're kind of bendy, they feel waxy. This must be the soup part, and there's 2 of those. A bowl, the ramen, I'm not sure what this is. Ooh, that's what these are, bean sprouts. That one's corn, must be too hard to mold on your own. Candles, that's interesting, I don't know why. This I think is the pork. I haven't decided if I'm going to put the pork in yet because I happen to be vegetarian, and so I might want a vegetarian ramen. And that's it. That's what's in the box. These are all the goods. This is styrofoam, I think. So it doesn't look that nice. So I decided to buy a nicer bowl. And then I have chopsticks. Here are the instructions. So they are all made out of wax, except for the soup pack, which is gelatin. So prepare the ingredients. Prepare hot water of 42 to 45 degrees Celsius in a heat-proof bowl. Warm up the accompanying bean sprouts, Chinese chive, carrot, pork, and corn into the hot water to soften them. And then we shape the softened Chinese chive and carrot, and then we arrange them. So I'll stop there. I will come back here with a bowl of water that is 45 degrees Celsius. I got all the supplies I'm gonna need, I think. And I've got my water. My thermometer is in Fahrenheit. So it looks like in Fahrenheit I'm gonna need it to be between 107.6 degrees and 113 degrees. I'm going to cut up my food on this. I feel like you have to work pretty quickly, otherwise keep warming up the water. So these are the bean sprouts. Interesting that they're kind of yellow in the center and whiter on the outsides. I think we're gonna cut them in half is why. Oh no! This one broke right open, I gotta be careful. This is what the corn looks like. That's what the butter looks like, but I'm not putting it in yet. The porks. Things are moving. They're getting bendy. The bean sprouts are starting to bend. So we start with the Chinese chive and carrots. It's interesting the chives seem to have like a texture on one side. The carrots don't, so I wonder if that's supposed to be the texture of a chive. So it says to use scissors. So I'll try that first, but I also brought out a knife just in case. And the way they did it on the package is just they're cut in strips. That's not really what chives look like, but maybe that's all we're going to be capable of. Actually, they're cut in way thicker strips than I just did. But chives are kind of round, right? Well, these don't bend. I mean, they don't smush that easily. They bend this way. Boy, I'm not doing them perfectly straight because I think it'll look more natural, more like food. Actually, you do need to do this really gently. I can tell that they're, like it's going to break really easily like that. That seems like a good chive. I take back what I said about trying to make the chives round. That's not going to happen. I can tell this is way too hard. I think I'm going to go with chopped, actually, because I've accidentally chopped so many of them that I think that's what I'm living with now. So I'm going to cut up a bunch of chives and then chop them like I would chop food. And then, hopefully, they'll end up looking somewhat realistic. I'll do something different with the carrots. Oh, that makes them look a little less uniform. I like that. I don't want them to look too perfect, which I think is going to be easy. So flattening them a bit. Because if I try to make it look too perfect, then I have really high standards to live up to. Chive chopping knife. Harder to cut than actual vegetables, obviously. The wax cools down so much as soon as you take it out of the water. I guess you're probably supposed to work really fast. And I wonder how I'm going to fish all of these out of the water at the end. Okay, so next is carrots. Much more bendy when it's hot. This is what the carrot looks like. And I'm going to cut them like how a carrot would actually be cut to me, which would be thinner. I wonder if they're doing it thicker because that's a more traditional way to serve it in Japan. That's possible. Or they just want to make this way easier for someone to do at home. And they wouldn't be totally flat and thin, so I'm going to bend them a little bit. I think they need to like sit in the water, you know? I wonder if I just dip one in and then do it right away and put it back. Oh yeah, way better. Oh my god, it is light years easier to work with when it's super warm. It is way easier to work with. Jeez, by a lot. With it being this warm, I actually probably could have rolled the chives. But that's okay. I like the variety of having them chopped. Next is the bean sprouts, but I'm going to do the corn just because I want something easy. Before I do the bean sprouts, they look hard. Mold the corns a little bit. Yeah, it says after cutting it off with the scissors, then shape them, because the bottom ends up being kind of weird. That part. This part at the bottom. Okay, corns are ready. Bean sprouts. Cut them from the middle into 2 portions. Round the one, end it with the tips of the fingers to make it look like a bean. I have been trying to push down the head of this bean sprout. Use like a pushing action instead of folding. And then point the tip. There are a lot of bean sprouts to do. Okay, these green beans are driving me crazy, so I'm gonna strain them out. Okay, oh my god, 2 hours of doing the same exact thing to the bean sprouts, but they are all done. These are my finished ramen products. I think the bean sprouts look alright. And then next up on our list here is the noodles. And they're going to go into the bowl when we make them. So I've got a bigger bowl clean with no chives in it for softening noodles. And then we divide the noodles into 5 portions. Then once the temperature is appropriate, we put a bundle of noodles into hot water for 10 to 20 seconds until they become soft. Arrange the softened wax noodles while twisting them. It says the finished sample will look more delicious if we firmly push the lower noodles and arrange the upper ones so that the edges of the noodles are hidden inside to make them look fluffy. And they look better if you arrange them with the center being higher, like a little cone. So let's see if it gets soft in 8 to 10 seconds. I think it's soft enough to arrange like a noodle. So let's split this up into 5, I think it said. And then we do one group at a time. We'll start with this group. And we shall arrange them in the bowl. So exciting! I'm actually really excited for this part. I was getting super tired of those bean sprouts. Holy cannoli, they took so long. I think I started this whole project at like 5 o'clock, but that included, setting up the video stuff. And it's 10:40. Although I did take a little bit of a break after the bean sprouts. I had to take, half an hour off, man. It was too much. It seems to be arranging them kind of like that. They're kind of twisting, each one's twisting back and forth a bit. I don't know why this needs to be divided into 5, because I feel like it'd be good if they were soaking in here for longer, right? And the last noodle. I don't know where to stick its end. Ta-da! Ramen. The pasta, like the ramen, looks good. Next step is arranging the ingredients. See, this is how it says you use the candle. Stick a toothpick in the end of the candle and drip it. So I'm going to try that first. Or it says it might be easier if you use instant glue. I'm going to do my ugliest bean sprouts first, since they'd be hidden. You just drip wax. I mean, I wonder if you're supposed to go super fast or what. It's not even sticking. No, that seemed lame. That made a little thing of wax. I don't like that option. Let's try Superglue. It's not like Superglue is the fastest drying glue, so I can't even really tell if this is working. So maybe I'll leave these 4 for a minute. Okay, so no, Superglue appears to just not help whatsoever. I've acquired different glues. Regular old tacky glue, Styrofoam glue, and super thick tacky glue. I think I might go with the Styrofoam glue because it says it's water-based, and this is coming from a bowl of water, so I think that makes sense. It says it instantly forms a tacky bond and will not run off the project's surface, and it dries clear. I mean, I'll have to let them all dry. Stay, little bean sprout, stay. So this is kind of wet, but I think it looks good. I don't think I'm going to add the pork to it, just to keep it a vegetarian ramen. So what I think I'm going to do is let this sit and let the glue tack overnight, because it is now midnight and I've been doing this since 5 o'clock and I am tired. So I'm just going to let it sit, rest overnight. I'll finish this project tomorrow. But all that's left is the soup part and the butter. Not that much. But then again, I thought this entire thing was going to take maybe an hour and a half, so. Okay, we are back. It is the next morning. Checking this out, these seem pretty well stuck on. And here is what it looks like, the beautiful ramen. Yummy. So I've been thinking a lot about this butter and the pork, and I still don't like the pork, but I'm thinking about just trying to turn it into tofu. I have a couple of ideas. First, I'm going to try and paint them white with a little bit of browning, like it's kind of seared tofu or fried tofu, and then cut them into more tofu-like shapes. I thought I was just about done, and I was just going to be able to pour in the soup this morning and be done with this, but now that it's a whole new day, I've got the energy. And the butter, I do think the butter looks cute on top, but I still have just never had ramen with a butter on top like that, so it seems weird. So I'm going to save that for the end still and make my last minute decision. But let's try and turn this pork into tofu. This is the type of tofu I'm going to try and create. Slightly seared tofu. I think these actually look pretty tofu-like in color. Not bad. Maybe not the shape. But we'll see. I'll let them dry and then I'll arrange them on the ramen and see if they look good. Like, you might see them all kind of bunched together like this. The tofu looks better with also the butter on it. The thing with the tofu is that all of the wax ones have some sort of like a little bit of clearness to them, and the tofu is just totally opaque. So I think it makes it stand out. But I wonder if once the soup is in, because it will fill quite a bit and might even cover some of it, that it might be okay. Actually, I kind of like it. I think it adds just another layer of depth to it. It says melt a pack of soup by soaking it in boiling water. When it's melted, then we need to knead the pack of soup while wearing gloves because it's hot. But then this next instruction, the English translation is a little bit unclear. Pour the soup melt by hot water. Adjust the temperature of soup to be less than 50 degrees. And the advice is that if it bubbles, grill its surface with a lighter or mini burner and bubbles will be gone. I have boiling water going in the background, so I'm going to go boil one of these, get it to 100 degrees, and then let it go back down to 50 degrees. So I'll see you when that happens. I scooped out some of the hot water and then poured in colder water to try and bring the temperature down of this faster. It needs to be 122 Fahrenheit, which we're just about there right now. Here, it's still like pretty liquidy. It's like a soup-like consistency. It's not a hard, squishy consistency like this one, which is not melted. I'm gonna try and go around the edges first, I think. So there are some bubbles, or more like beading, really. I wonder if that's what it meant. If it bubbles, grill its surface. Well, let's try. See these bubbles right there? They're more like beading, not bubbles, but I think that's what it probably means, so I'm going to try. Well, that's just making the bean sprout melt. Maybe my second pack will cover up those little minor problems. It's probably hard to tell, but I can kind of see the liquid moving around in there still. There you go. I need to wait until the first pack sets, about 1 hour at 20 degrees of the room temperature. I've decided to take my hour waiting for the first layer of soup to finish drying to have some actual ramen for lunch. It says pour the second pack of soup into the gaps among the noodles by the same process. So it really wants me in the gaps, maybe over. I really don't like all these like bubblings or beating of the soup, so I'm going to try and just scrape them off this time. Some of these are hardened on from the last one. That guy. Shall we try the melting again of the bubbles? I'm kind of liking what it does to the carrots. It makes them look a little more natural, I think. Here's the finished product and the box, what it was supposed to look like. What do you think? Whose is better? I kind of like mine. Overall, my main thoughts on this, it was a lot more work than I anticipated, but it's kind of cool and it was fun in the end. Thanks for watching. I hope that you found that somewhat interesting if you've never seen anyone make Japanese sample food before. Nom 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 nom.